Hello and welcome to lesson 6 on brain development. This is a key study, so it's an important lesson. It's a key study, and that key study is from McGarrigle and Donaldson and their challenge to Piaget on at what age exactly is it that we can develop the ability of conservation. As we well know, Piaget felt that this was at the concrete operational stage that we are still unable to conserve. McGarrigle and Donaldson absolutely disagree and believe that that age is much, much lower. In fact, they would go so far as to say it's actually about 4 to 6, essentially, that children have developed the ability of what's known as conservation. But we'll perhaps just chat about that if you're not sure what conservation is. First and foremost, can I please drag your attention to show my homework, where you will be able to find a written description of everything that I'm about to deliver. And on that, from that written description, I would like you to write notes. I'd like you to write notes from this narrative as well, keynotes that you're hearing. Use the sheet as well on this key study, outlining the aims, the study design, the method, the result, conclusion, etc., as well as the limitations. That would be excellent. Righty, let's get going. So McGarrigle and Donaldson did a study called the Naughty Teddy study in 1974. This was to see if children developed conservation skills at an earlier age than Piaget found. It was a laboratory study, so a lab study. Remember what we've chatted about with regards to lab study, what they lack. Ecological validity. Great thing is, however, if it's a lab study, there is a capacity to always repeat the study, repeat. So therefore, to test it rigorously, that the results are not an anomaly, for example. And another big plus with a lab study is, of course, that all extraneous variables can potentially be controlled by the psychologists. So this was a lab study. The method was as follows. The children were shown 2 rows of counters, and asked if there was the same amount in each row. Then a glove puppet called, surprisingly, Naughty Teddy made an appearance. Naughty Teddy accidentally messed up one of the rows of counters in front of the child. The messed up row was spread out on purpose to look longer than the other row. The experimenter pretended to be really cross with Naughty Teddy and told it off. The child was then asked if there were the same amount of counters in each row. Were as followed, actually. 62% of children that were 4 to 6 were able to identify that in spite of all one row of the counters being all messed up and spread along the floor, that they still said, no, it's exactly the same. This is unusual because it compares when Piaget did a similar study that only 16% of 4 to 6-year-olds actually answered correctly. That was when, however, and here's the big however, it was an adult that messed up the counters as opposed to a teddy. And the typical relationship you would imagine that a child would have with an adult would be one of trust and perhaps almost reverence and respect. So therefore, it might conclude that result would be quite natural. So the variable was key to change the adult, if you like, with this mystical Naughty Teddy. So it could be a reason. A little bit of a weakness maybe there, 62%. Should we really be hanging our coat on that particular percentage and saying, well, there you go, children definitely can conserve at a younger age? It's not definitive. I mean, there are still 38% of children that essentially did get it wrong and said that there were now more counters in the Naughty Teddy or part of Naughty Teddy row, if you like. Well, anyway, Hughes and McGarrigle drew these conclusions after the results. They said children younger than the age of 7 can absolutely conserve if the change to the material is seen to be an accident. Okay, Naughty Teddy messes up the rows, for example. It was seen as an accident. Some very brief limitations, and with the Naughty Teddy study is, of course, that over 38%, sorry, 30%, over 30%, let's get the figures right, actually still failed to conserve. And secondly, the study was then replicated by another psychologist who found that although more children could indeed conserve than perhaps the study done by Piaget, the results were not as high as what McGarrigle and Donaldson found. So there's a slight difference in results there. Anyway, over to you. What do you think? Do you think that Piaget is right to say that conservation doesn't happen until the concrete operational stage? Or do you feel actually that Donaldson and McGarrigle absolutely have a point with their Naughty Teddy study? Good luck.